The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. 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 The Foundation. The Foundation.
Hope you guys are good out there. Hope everything is absolutely wonderful as we continue to jam with you here on The Foundation. It is a beautiful day. Always grateful to be in your company. Grateful to be here with you as we continue to jam. Guys, make sure you check me out, Foundation 242. Foundation 242 across social media handles, and definitely Foundation 242. The Foundation242.com. You'll be able to check us out there. We're on YouTube at Foundation 242. You'll be able to fill us up. We're out here, we're jamming with you on this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous day. We're here in the land of living. I got to be able to shout out my good decent people that continue to support us. We got to shout out Carpet World. Carpet World, they're still being able to celebrate their 53% off. Let me know if you guys can be able to hear me out there. If you have any issues, let me know. Hit me up 827-0111. Just trying to make sure everything is good for you as we're doing that. But like I said, go down to Carpet World, get yourself taken care of at Carpet World. The numbers you can call today at Carpet World to get that thing taken care of is 341-8671. That's 341-8671. They can take very good care of you down in that particular space. You want to be able to make sure that you're good and that you're moving towards getting what you need to get in that space. All right, so that's for your carpet, your floor, and all your laminate floors, your tiles, and all these particular things. You know, this is summertime. In those areas. So check it out. Like I said, the numbers again: 341-8671, 341-8671. You want to be able to take care of that and check that out in those areas. Also, you got to be able to hold up. Julian, you're calling me earlier. I don't know if you're calling me to tell me you can hear me or you can't hear me, but we're working on that, trying to be able to get that taken care of. You're calling me early. Let me get these things taken care of, guys. Also, got to be able to shout out my good decent people at Coco Plum Wellness. Mic check 1 2. Okay, you can hear me now. All right, good. All right, here we go. Now you definitely be able to do that. Carpet World, like I said, 341-8671. Coco Plum Wellness for the hydrocolonic. You want to be able to check out the hydrocolonic and make those things happen in that area. You want to be able to find out how you can get yourself taken care of along those lines. The numbers you can call today is 445-8111 for the hydrocolonic. This is essential in those particular areas. You want to be able to make sure that you're getting that taken care of for the hydrocolonic. 445-8111 for the hydrocolonic. Also, Sell All. I've been telling you guys to go down to Sell All and make sure you get your stuff taken care of as it relates to being able to get all your electronics, whether that's a Starlink, whatever those things are. You want to be able to do that. The numbers you can dial today for Sell All is 361-7267, 361-7267. They're located in the Marshall Plaza right across the street from Cousin McPhee's Church on Carmichael Road. You could be able to see them. They got everything taken care of. And I'd like to tell you all, and also joining us today is Paint Depot. Paint Depot, what is on Mont Royal Avenue, they've been helping us with all our paint in our place. Anything you see paint here is Paint World. You understand what I'm saying? So Paint World has been assisting us very well in those particular areas. You want to be able to give them a shout out. Miss Johnson's down there. She could be able to take very good care of you at Paint World. The numbers that you can be able to dial. I'm sorry, Paint Depot. They're mixing up Paint World and Carpet World. Paint Depot. You want to be able to go check out Paint Depot. The numbers that you can call for Paint Depot is 326-1875. 326-1875. And that's Paint Depot. You want to be able to go and check them for all those things. Guys, you don't have to wait until Christmas to get things done, you know. You could be able to start doing something now. You want to go down there and get that thing taken care of. Check it out, Paint Depot, and they can take very good care of you. In fact, my daughter's about to do a mural here, and so she's going to be doing some stuff right there. We got all our stuff from Paint Depot. You want to check them out. Paint Depot, located on Mount Royal Avenue. They can take good care of you. Right across the street from the South House. You know exactly where the South House is. So they're doing that in those areas also. All right, guys, let me get back. I'm going to be able to talk to you about a very special guest that I have here. He's going to be talking to us about a great deal of stuff that's going on. Let me see if I can get a couple things fixed. Quick break, guys. Going to be right back after this. That's the channel itself. You ain't got another channel you can use? That's wild right there. That's wild.
Great music and a great staff. Reach your customers in style by advertising with us. We have a great platform and great quality reaching the island of Nassau. Call us at 242-827-0111. Foundation Radio. Advertising made easy.
The best talk show in the Bahamas. The Foundation with Howard Grant. Only on 89.5 FM Foundation Radio.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, right here at the Foundation, jamming with you on this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous Tuesday afternoon here, being able to jam with you and being able to talk the way that we are about a matter of things, a number of things rather. And I just wanted to kind of bring that stuff to you. Yesterday, we had an opportunity to be able to identify a few things where the government of the Bahamas has indicated that they're looking for 300 persons to be able to come from Ghana and be able to do some stuff. I brought Nana John Canoe, the second, with me. You may know him as Chris Davis. He's always here being able to jam with us. First time in this space with me. But I'm always grateful that he's here, really being able to bring clarity and life to our conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, none other than Nana John Canoe, which is Chris Davis. Introduce yourself. Let persons know who you are, my brother.
And thanks for having me on, my brother. I am a Pan-Africanist, historian, an educator myself, actually, of sorts as well. And I work out there at Clifton Heritage National Park, and I work very closely with the Ministry of Education and various other ministries as well. Yeah.
That's excellent, man. Now listen, tell them about your trips that you make consistently. I tell them every time I call you, you say, Howard, I'm not in the country.
Yeah, but I don't travel that much. Not no more, at least. I only been over there.
Howard, I'm not in the country.
I only
Where you is?
One so far for the year, but yeah.
Only one time for the year?
Just only one time for the year. I've been busy in lockdown, getting some things done here, you know. But yeah, I travel to Ghana quite often. Of course, it began with my research surrounding John Canoe and its origins, which can be sort of pinpointed to the Ahanta region in southwest Ghana and Princestown. And long story short, we sort of proved that John Canoe was in fact the great warrior king of Princestown by the name of John Quao I. And my return, my continued work in education, philanthropy, all of the above within the region, long story short, led to my coronation as John Canoe II in June of 2022. So you got Queen Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth II, John Canoe I, the man to be celebrated every Christmas, and me, John Canoe II.
Well, it's wonderful to see that, man. What led you to this particular pursuit? I know that you, in your historian portfolio, when you wear your historian hat and your desire to kind of move forward in those areas, did one thing lead to another in terms of you moving in that direction? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, most definitely. As I was getting a little older, my late teens, started to realize that things aren't always as they seem to be, you know. I went to Queen's College, and I would say the majority of my teachers were pretty much white people from England. Though in their defense, I did have some excellent teachers.
Hold on now.
Like Mr. Bonner.
we diving into a different conversation, because let me tell you why. What existed yesterday.
Right.
This idea of what existed yesterday, this sort of a concept to talk about the potential of 300 persons being able to come to the Bahamas and moving in that particular direction,
right,
has led us to this position, right?
Yeah.
Somebody outside.
Yeah.
Has led us to this kind of a position to talk about okay, no problem, right? But it led us to this kind of a position to talk about whether or not we need expats, right? The information that actually came to the forefront spoke to one thing or another that says, hey, listen, there are more persons being able to come. There are more young people that's teaching. There are more Bahamian persons that are gravitating towards jobs. Do we need these persons being able to come over? We've seen Belinda in her particular capacity as president and being able to do those things. We've seen those things, and she's being able to advocate for more persons to find their position and find their way towards a teaching profession and whatnot, rejecting this sort of an idea of what happened with Ghana. I read sort of an excerpt from Quentin LaRota that indicated that this is not the first time that this has happened, that the government of the Bahamas has forged task force to be able to scour the globe, whether that's the Philippines, whether that's Cuba, whether that's the United States of America, whether that's the UK. We've been looking for teachers constantly and looking for an opportunity to be able to make some things happen. So talk to me about this. Talk to me about this sort of an idea. What brought about this pursuit? I know that, like I said, I know that you have relationships in Ghana. Right. I also know that Andrew Wilson is the ambassador.
Right.
I don't know whether he's still in that particular capacity, but he was the ambassador for Ghana. And being able to identify that, I read back in 2019 where there was a return of
Yeah, the year of
the
return.
year of return,
as they
the
call
year
it,
of
right.
return in 2019, and that evolved into this sort of a concept of being able to open up their doors to the diaspora, and actually saying to persons, "Come home." Is this a part of that program? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, sir. I guess you could say it's not a part. It's actually a continuation and an explosion. And from that program, of course, you had all of these other initiatives. However, that program was more so directed to African Americans. And the year of return actually represented the 400-year anniversary of when chattel slavery was implemented in what is now the United States of America. Right now, this is certainly a continuation. So even when we first went and we discovered all of these huge cultural connections between the Bahamas and Ghana, I also had with me. So when I went, the first time I was with my wife. The second time was with her, and then also Robin Lightbourne, who many people know is the Pan-Africanist logistician.
Yeah.
A lot of videos out there, you know.
Yeah.
And we had always discussed earlier, and we did it through our NGO Sankofa Flamingo.
Yeah.
And we had already discussed, you know, and I always say it, you know, the history, the heritage, the culture is good and it creates the bond, but that don't feed people. You understand?
Yeah.
And so trade, and this is of course going in line. We could take it all the way back to the origins of Pan-Africanism.
Yeah.
Right, Martin Delaney and all those. Our very own Joseph Robert Love, who was the mentor to Marcus Garvey, and so all of these we came there, of course, with a full Pan-Africanist view to link the Bahamas with our brothers and sisters in Ghana. That was exacerbated by our newly found cultural and shared connections. So essentially, they are family, right? And there were many initiatives, particularly dealing with trade, and we look. And from the beginning, along with, of course, Andrew Wilson, who at the time was not the ambassador yet, and he did a lot of work with us as well. And there was always this idea of linking the Bahamas in numerous ways to Ghana, right? And so this deals on a higher level with the cost of living.
And which year was this when you initially went?
2019.
2019. The same year of the return.
Sorry. Yeah,
It was 19?
2019. I think it was.
We talked about this.
Yeah, I think it's 2019. Yeah.
We talked about this in another platform,
Right.
another space,
Yeah.
right? You talked about going. I remember you going. You invited me to go.
Yep. I did.
And guess what? I ain't gonna lie to you. I dreamt I was in Africa. I honestly God, I dreamt, right? I dreamt I was in Africa. I did not go.
Yeah.
I think that trip to Cuba, the trip to China kind of threw me off. You remember I told you I was
Right. Yes. I remember.
I was locked down for like 5 days. I could move, right?
Right.
But these experiences mean a lot. And you did this all the way back in 2019. You
Right.
stayed with it. Now this would have been about 7 years.
Right.
And being able to find those commitment. What has been the relationship with the Bahamas and Ghana since then? I know I've been watching all over YouTube. People from the United States and other places go in there spending $70,000 getting 2-3 acres of land, or building a house on it, so forth and so on. They listen. They got irrigation system in the yard. I watch it all this on YouTube and blowing my mind.
You know, that's why I encourage Bahamians to go and visit Ghana. In many ways, Ghana is far ahead of us. Of course, after Haiti, and in our modern history, they would have been the first country to gain independence. And you see nations like Jamaica, Guyana, not to be confused with Ghana. Love my people, but you all need to take 1 or 2 little geography lessons, you know what I mean? But you notice that they've all sort of adopted this red, gold, and green. You see the Rastafari community, the flag of Ethiopia. All of that speaks to the sort of spirit of Pan-Africanism. And we share a lot of historical similarities. Ghana being the first place Europeans landed and tried to establish themselves in Africa, and the Bahamas being the same on this side. Now, of course, through all of the history and the cultural links and all of the networking that has been going, we've had well over 1,000 Bahamians that have already visited, either through me or through other initiatives or even on their own. And we just try to connect them.
To Ghana over the past 7 years?
Yeah, actually not even 7 years. Over the past maybe 3 or 4 years, well over
1,000 Bahamians already gone?
Yeah, 1,000 Bahamians have already visited. Some of them living over there. 1 or 2 of them get baby over there.
Did I see? But you know that was inevitable. They gotta leave something. I gotta leave something. I come back for that.
But yeah, you know, but it's really a beautiful relationship. It was very much akin to, say, someone who people from Kid Island and they ain't never been Kid Island and they hit 21 now and they say, you know what, let me go to Kid Island. And instead of being treated like a tourist, you know, they're treated like family. And Ghana has led this spirit of Pan-Africanism in the African
Talk to me about this
diaspora.
idea of what Pan-Africanism is. A lot of
So-
persons are indifferent about it. We keep
Right.
hearing Dr. Umar talk about the spirit of Pan-Africanism, but then
Yes,
but
yes.
simultaneously he says, white bunnies and all these things. There's too
Right.
much. Tell me about this
So-
Pan-Africanism.
So I look at it in three ways. Pan-Africanism can be seen as a broad term, and it could even be sort of parallel with terms like pro-black, you understand? Where anything that deals with the rights of people of African descent, anything that deals with unity of people of African descent. And here you find even those that wouldn't have used the term Pan-African or called themselves a Pan-African outright were certainly Pan-Africanists when we look at that version of the definition. So you could think about someone like Martin Luther King, of course, right? And notice now,
But it wouldn't be Malcolm X.
Yeah,
because
oh,
Malcolm X would be
No,
clear on his position.
no, Malcolm X was more, I would argue, was more Pan-African. than-
Really?
Yeah, oh,
Did he
100%.
know?
Yeah, well, what did Malcolm X preach? When you listen to what he said, yes, we know he was Islamic. He was with the Nation of Islam for a while. But he was all about treating people within the African diaspora and human rights for all. Of course, it was focused
So
on
the
United
pursuit
States.
of liberation, the pursuit of liberty.
And don't forget, his mommy was from Grenada. People just forget about these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see?
So what I'm saying, the pursuit of liberty and the articulation in that particular area, the desire to be able to do those things,
Right.
is that this sort of an idea of what Pan-Africanism is?
Right, and in that sense. And then you have it where it's more rigid, where Pan-Africanism, so those who call themselves a Pan-Africanist, they are coming at it from a more so political perspective. And to be a Pan-Africanist, Pan-Africanism essentially speaks to the idea and the belief that Africans should unify, right? And that they should work together economically, socially, and all of these things. And that they share a common past, a common present, and of course share a common destiny, right? And this is what Pan-Africanism is all about. And when you get into the higher echelons of Pan-Africanism, the more rigid, structured one. This is what we see coming out of the house of Rastafari, for example. You know, they have that saying, you hear a lot of conscious reggae songs, particularly from Sizzler, and he often opens them up with organize, centralize, and become
Come
one.
as one.
And come as one. All right,
Yeah.
then. So these are the principles of Pan-Africanism. And those of us who...
But those are the same principles that exist within the confines of the Black Panther movement.
Certainly. All of these can be loosely identified as Pan-Africanists, even if they don't say that they are. But then you have the rigid, like I say, political system where our shared African ethnicity trumps geopolitical loyalties. It does not mean that geopolitical loyalty is not important or should not be acknowledged. So, of course, I'm a Bahamian, love the Bahamas, teach about the Bahamas all day, every day. It's something that's passionate. I'm extremely passionate about, as those who know me know, right? But does it take precedence over your ethnicity? Because tomorrow, so let's, I won't get in, I won't cause your show go left. But let's say some aliens from outer space, from Mars come, and they conquer the Bahamas, right? And they want to call the Bahamas Jabim. All of a sudden, you won't Bahamian no more. And as a matter of fact, your geopolitical loyalty, though it is important and a huge part of how we identify as humans today, it is not the be all and end all, right? Because God come back tomorrow and say, hey, and you go to him and say, oh, well, I need to go to heaven because I is a Bahamian and we is a Christian country. You can say, what's a Bahamian? You understand? So geopolitical loyalty deals with these man-made concepts. And to put it plainly, geopolitical loyalty, Bahamian, Jamaican, these are man-made concepts with a, of course, huge diversity of complex manifestations, right? But to put it plainly, the way that God made you is what we're dealing with when we're talking about Pan-Africanism, your ethnicity. And of course, that's to varying degrees. So even you, who are a lot lighter than me, right? Once you identify as such, you, of course, I hear you yesterday, you call yourself a black man, And
I'm a
that's-
black man, sir.
Thank you very much.
100%. No
Right.
matter, no
Now-
shade. It's
Oh,
black
yeah.
man.
Now the problem is you will have some of us Pan-Africanists who be very harsh with those who don't fully buy into our philosophy, right? And I think oftentimes that can be wrong, right? So my big brother, shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. You know, he is one. You see all the memes whenever you see a rich black athlete going around with a white girl, they just put the meme with Dr. Umar looking at that, right? You know, and of course, politically, these things have a point. You know, marriage is not just about love and these things. Marriage is also about society, a social contract, about economics. So if a rich black man marry a middle class or lower class black woman, he elevates the whole family. But what these rich black men is leave they good black women, right, and go that way. Now, of course, it does not mean that.
I feel like that could be a little bit of PTSD at points, though,
Right,
because especially if you grew up in a household with a single black mother,
right.
and those particular traits, when you move into a different tax bracket, you
Right.
desire
Well,
something different.
Yes.
That's a part of
that's
the
a part
conditioning.
of it, but a part of right. But you just say the word I was going to use. There's a social conditioning that
That's a
exists.
social conditioning.
Right. So when you see the shampoo commercial, when you see the Stockings commercial, it's usually white women putting these things on it, and white women have historically past 500 years
Yeah.
been presented as the
Yeah.
pinnacle of what you get.
Yeah.
There's a quite even disturbing meme where they show you a grandmother who was a formerly enslaved from Africa encouraging her daughter to marry a light skin or a white fella, and then a grandbaby come out light skin, and then the grandbaby get encouraged to marry white, and then he marry white, and though the baby is of partial
So it's
African
passing.
descent,
That's what it's called. That's passing.
right, but now Grammy have a white great grandson, and she's holding the grandson while neglecting the other blacks in the family, saying praise the Lord. And we know that this is a reality here in the Bahamas, where you know, and as a matter of fact, it has no scientific foundation, right? Race and these things have no scientific foundation. We've been doing DNA testing between New Providence, Kid Island, and Ghana, right? That's one of the many projects that we've been doing. And I was a little jealous of some of my brethren, some of them light skinned like you, and they coming out 80% African.
They're more African than anything.
90% African, look like you. And when I do my test, you know how much I get? 79%. You know I
79.
smart. 14%
I'm
Irish.
trying to tell you, I was 100% black. If you check me out.
You see, so we have to stop getting caught up in all of these things regarding that, and understand that white supremacy is real, right? White supremacy is not the fellow with the KKK hood coming on your lawn and burning a cross. That's just one aspect of it. But white supremacy deals with this systematic thing that is so subtle, right? Where the demonization of African customs and culture is so normalized, right? And so you will hear, I've even seen some comments regarding the people coming from Ghana talking about, oh, you know, these Ghanese Africans just do these different religions and all that. So first of all, most Ghanaians are Christian, followed by a significant portion of Muslim. I think it's like 60-40 or something like that. So they
60%
worship in
Christian, 40% Muslim.
somewhere around there, but don't.
What's the
quote me on
population?
that. Just under 40 million, right? So we're talking about a
40 million.
relatively massive country, right?
Yeah.
And these people, for the most part, you know, are Christians,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And yet you have these comments about people having this fear of them bringing some alternative spiritual practices here to the Bahamas, right? But what's amazing to me is that the Muslim and the Christian who worship Jehovah, who claim to be spreading the word and all that, they rape, kill, steal, and pillage from another group of people. But because they is pray different than you, they evil. The ones who do the raping, the stealing, and the pillaging good, and the ones who are victims of said raping, enslaving, and pillaging are evil. Inherently, almost innately, based on their cultural practices.
That's crazy.
And so we have to really take a step back and view these things. And this is where even our Constitution, you know, we preach religious freedom, and it's something that we all accept. And of course, you know, we must not overplay or that vehement is so xenophobic. That's not always the case.
I agree with
It's
you.
right, you know, because it's just about being comfortable, you
Yeah.
know, and culture is a weird thing, you know. So in the Western world, Bahamas, United States, Canada, we love dogs. But if you go to a certain place in Southeast Asia, and it's not all over. It's just certain villages where they have
They
a
also love
culture.
dogs.
Right? But some of them eat dogs. You understand? And this is a
They
huge
consume the
culture
thing.
shock, right? And now you could take it the other way. We over here eating hamburgers. You go to certain sects where they practice certain
Especially in
aspects
India.
of Hinduism, right, in India. And if the cow in the road in certain parts of India, you gotta wait till the cow wake
ever
up
been to
and
Cuba?
move out the road. Yes, I have many times.
It's not. They don't kill the cows like that. They don't eat.
Right.
Like, okay, so it's very rare.
Right.
In fact, when I first went to Cuba, I didn't have. Well, when it was burgers, they were selling burgers on the street, and we stopped. All the kids, it was like 300 and some of us,
Yeah.
but we stopped to get a burger. Now we can't understand Spanish shit. So we see Caballo Burger or something like Caballo Burger. We say, oh yeah, let's try Caballo Burger. And I came by itself, and we had all our condiments, so we put our ketchup and so forth and so on. We kill those burgers. They're like 5 cents each. We kill them burgers. And as weeks progress, we understand that caballo meant horse. We ate horse burgers. Culture is crazy.
Yeah.
Culture is crazy. And like you said, it's just depending on the sect that you're from, these are the things that happen in these areas.
Certainly, right? And people will come here the same way and have a massive culture shock. I mean, we see conch. I've witnessed tourists from Canada, United States, Western Europe say, yeah, man, I went try the conch salad, and when they see how the conch alive, and the fella take the hatchet to the back of the conch and yuck the guts off and eat the thistle and the bubby, and they think that's absolutely gross and barbaric. Just like going to Ghana, there's a soup that they eat. So Ghanaians, they don't fry their okra before they cook it. So you know what that
Slimy?
means. Slimy ain't even the word. They have a soup that's actually called Face the Wall. And out of defiance, Ghanaians actually they don't use, like, now of course they have forks, of course. But if you go to a local joint or anything,
They eat
like
with their
that,
hands.
They eat with their hands. So when
They eat fufu?
even soup, man, fufu is one of their main staples. They have fante kenke, which is corn based,
And jollof.
as well. Yes, jollof rice. I ain't get into that conversation because that days have a whole friendly war over who has cooked the best jollof rice and all these things.
Yeah.
Now this soup that they eat, this is a heavily based green okra soup, and the soup is nicknamed Face the Wall because when you're eating it with your hands. And you won't believe my second day in Ghana, I tell my brother, I say, man, I want to go where y'all is go to eat. I want to go to a real local joint. He's like, you sure? He's like, yeah. And I had 2 culture shocks in one restaurant visit. I walk in there, I see 4 grown men sharing a bowl of soup, and all them eating it with their hand. Same bowl, not separate bowl, not taking the soup
But it's
out,
culture.
putting in your.
This is
Right.
why we have
See?
to travel. A lot of Bahamians who are used to the comforts and the conditioning of our environment don't understand these things.
Right.
When I went to the discoteca for the very first time in Cuba, I didn't have no girlfriend or nothing like that then. So let's be clear. As I give you the prerequisites to this conversation, amen. So I go in there, we carrying one pile of women with us to the discoteca. It's a disco, right, in Cuba. All them sitting around a table with us. It's like a little booth, right? We have a good time. All the Cuban music playing. We having a good time and so forth and so on. They get one bottle of Havana Club put on the table and 1 cup. So I say, hold on a minute. So I said, let me get the next bottle, right? I don't even know what this is, but we got to get it. So the people say, no, Howard, what you doing? Stop. You don't do that. So they pass this cup around. Somebody take a shot, pass the cup to the next place, and they take a shot in the same cup.
Right.
I said, Jesus, none of these people deep with this Anglicanism. I can't share 1 cup with you. You need to stop, right? So I said, no. And I pass it up. The guy told me, Howard, come outside. He said, Howard, listen to me. These people don't have nothing. He said, when they offer you something, they offering you the little that they have. It's hospitality.
Right.
It is an insult if you don't take what they're offering you. They look at you different. I go in there and I pray over this cup. I said, Jesus, please don't let me catch no herpes or hepatitis. And I bomb, right? Just because this is culture. Right. This is the culture that exists in these particular places. And so when you start to say these guys sharing over 1 plate of fufu or whatever the case may be, that's strange to us.
Right.
Because we've been conditioned, especially after 1973, to be able to, Mama got, Papa got, God bless the child who got his own
Right.
But there are a lot of communities that still find this sort of an idea of being able to commune, to come together, to share,
Yes.
to break bread, and this is where they find their strength.
Right. And we in Bahamians, we do it in other ways. We can't see we Bahamians, we scornful. You know? If thine your
I didn't tell you I scornful. I don't know these people's mouth.
Exactly.
I don't know your mouth been missed.
Thine your child.
And listen, she pretty,
or
you know.
your wife,
So I didn't know it's a
or your
problem.
puppy. Listen, I ain't gonna get in trouble with Mrs. Grant.
Praise God. I
Mrs.
just listen. I
Grant,
wasn't
Mrs.
married. I didn't
Grant.
tell you the thing.
Okay.
I didn't tell you the thing. I wasn't married yet. Anyway, praise God.
You know, yeah, man. But all jokes aside, though, you know, this is something we must be open to, right? And culture is precisely that. It's something that you shouldn't judge people for. And culture usually has some very strong culture, you know, backgrounds that's rooted in sort and practicality, particularly when you're looking at African communities and civilizations, right? Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about that. I want to be able to dive deeper into these things. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be able to join us, you can do that. Give me a call, 827-0111. 827-0111. I don't know what in the world is happening. Things are cutting off in here, but we can figure these things out. Guys, let's take a quick commercial break. When we get back, we'll dive deeper into it right after this.
After this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
By advertising with us, we have a great platform and great quality reaching the island of Nassau. Call us at 242-827-0111. Foundation Radio. Advertising made easy.
Resort in the Garden of Eden is an ideal place for weddings and honeymoons in a tropical island setting. The dining experience is unforgettable, and it is filled with a warm and gracious cultural vibe. The atmosphere and service is second to none. Enjoy our pool bar on hot days or cool evenings when you just want to relax and have a few cold drinks and appetizers. We are located at Eastwood, Fox Hill, Nassau, Bahamas. Phone 242-819-5574. That's Residence Resort in the Garden of Eden. Come stay with us.
Our carpets are the best in the world. Visit Carpet World on Baloo Hill Road for the most luxurious collection of fine carpets. Call 341-8671 and visit our store, offering a wide selection in commercial and residential indoor and outdoor carpets, tiles, area mats, and much, much more. Carpet World and Flooring. Call us at 341-8671. We are at Baloo Hill Road waiting to serve you.
Experience the extraordinary fusion of open system hydrocolonic hydrotherapy and holistic rejuvenation. We are located at the One West Plaza for your convenience. Cleanse, revitalize, nourish. Your journey to good health, energy, and vitality begins here. Whether you are managing your health or just simply seeking a boost, Coco Plum Wellness is here for you. Call 242-818-7586. Your wellness comes first.
Where's your dignity? Show some civility. But I say, catch yourself. You must smell yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility. There's a lot of slackness all over the place. So many misbehaviors. Man is a disgrace. Some believe our society is falling apart. Moral and social decay. Man, it breaks my heart. Some think it's cool, behaving like a fool. Haven't you forgotten the golden rule? All kind of wrong and cussing and plenty road rage. The woman them in the road they fighting. These are at your age. I say, catch yourself, but control yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility. I say, catch yourself. You must smell yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility.
Show in the Bahamas. The Foundation with Howard Grant. Only on 89.5 FM Foundation.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, jamming with you on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, being able to be here. We don't know, some things are happening, but we're here and we're pushing through these particular things, making sure that we get everything out there for you. I'm sitting here with none other than John Canoe II, right? Nana John Canoe II, Chris Davis, being able to bring you great information, great history, and being able to talk about those things. Really wanted to highlight this sort of a concept that existed as Belinda Wilson in her particular capacity as president of the BUT. Now, I've been one of these people. I expect her to agitate. I expect her to advocate. I expect her to be able to speak with clarity about these particular matters. And I expect her to be able to do so, relentlessly. It doesn't matter whether or not there's pros and cons. There's a responsibility that she has to be able to speak for her people. But I do expect those of us who are out there to be able to weigh the pros and the cons, the goods and the bad, be able to identify these things and dive deeper, not just leaning on one side of the conversation. And so we would have read some information from the minister, Chester Cooper, yesterday. We would have read some information from Quinton LaRota out of Grand Bahama, who is a former, I don't even know whether or not he's still an executive on the teachers union, right? But we would have read that information, and now I want to read a little bit of information from Andrew Wilson, who is the ambassador for Ghana, or to Ghana, and being able to do that. This is on his Facebook page. Just read a little something. It says, I have seen both sides of this bridge, and I'm telling you, it holds. And this is by Andrew Wilson. This is a High Commissioner of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to the Republic of Ghana and former school board chairman. There are moments in national life when we must choose between our anxieties and our children. The announcement that the Bahamas will welcome up to 300 Ghanaian teachers has stirred strong feelings.
Up to. Yeah, so
not 300.
Okay.
Up to 300, right? Has stirred strong feelings, and I understand why. But I write today not from theory and not from politics. I write from two chairs I have actually sat in. The first chair, the school board room. For many years, I've served as school board chairman in the Bahamas. I sat in meetings with principals, begged for teachers who simply did not exist. I watched classrooms, combined subjects dropped, and substitute arrangements stretched past breaking. I saw what a vacancy really means. It is not an empty line of a staffing chart. It is 30 children going without qualified math teacher for a year they will never get back. The ministry reports a shortage of roughly 300 teachers. From where I sit, that number is not an abstraction. It is the child's lost time. The second chair is Accra. Accra?
Yeah, it's the capital city of Ghana.
Accra.
Yeah, about
okay.
6 million people. If you think Miami big, you need to go there.
The capital from Accra. It says, for the past 4 years, I have had the honor of serving our High Commissioner to Ghana. Serving as our High Commissioner to Ghana. I have visited Ghanaian schools, met their teachers, training colleges, and engaged their educational authorities at every level. Let me tell you plainly what I've seen. Ghana produces educators of extraordinary caliber, disciplined, rigorously trained, English-speaking, deeply respectful, and teaching professions, and raised a culture where the classroom is sacred ground. There are two intellectual heirs of Agri of Africa. Agri? What's that? Agri? What is it?
Yeah, I think that's a group. That's like a group. Yeah.
In Africa?
Yeah.
And the school system has produced Kofi Annan. The Ghanaian nurses already serving in the Bahamas have earned glowing reviews from our own authorities. The teachers will do the same. To my fellow Bahamians who are concerned, I hear you. The Bahamas Union of Teachers is right to fight for better pay, timely allowances, and hiring of our own graduates. Those grievances are legitimate, and the government must resolve them with urgency. But let us not confuse two separate problems. Paying our teachers properly and filling 300 empty classrooms are not competing goals. They are twin obligations. The government has been clear Bahamians receive first priority for every vacancy. And international recruitment fills only the gaps qualified Bahamians cannot immediately fill. Every recruit will be vetted, credentialed, culturally oriented, and immersed before standing in front of our children. This is not replacement. This is reinforcement. And let us remember who we are. The overwhelming majority of Bahamas trace our ancestry to West Africa, the very shores of Ghana. The Ghanaian teachers stand before the Bahamian children that is not a foreigner in our classroom, that is family. Returning across the waters our ancestors were forced to cross, this time carrying books instead of chains. This is a poetry in this moment that we should not let fear ride over. We have recruited teachers internationally for decades, from Cuba, from the region, from beyond. No one's Bahamian identity was diminished. Our children were educated. This was always the point. The bottom line is, I have chaired the board and felt the shortage, and I've shaken the hands of teachers and who can help fill it. I do not support this initiative despite. I do not support this initiative despite my love for Bahamian teachers and Bahamian children. I support it because of that love. Because of that love. It says a child cannot wait for a perfect labor market. September is coming. Let us pay our teachers well. Let us hire qualified Bahamian graduates, and let us open our doors to 300 brothers and sisters who are ready, willing, and superbly able to serve. Our children deserve nothing less than a full classroom and a qualified teacher at the front of it. This is Andrew Wilson, who is the High Commissioner to Ghana. That is an amazing thing that he said, knowing that he sat in all spheres, in all particular positions, and being able to identify those things. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so I don't want people to believe that this was a decision that was made lightly by anyone who was involved, right? And at the end of the day, it's only something to benefit the children, right? And oftentimes what you see is that things are missed out because it was on July 1st and in the weeks leading up to that where our new Minister of Education have been putting out a call for retirees to return, for new graduates to be hired, right? And if the retirees don't want to return, or if the graduates go off somewhere else, right? And so we have to be very careful in how we express ourselves online and to, let emotions override, right? We have to also remember, and some might say I'm playing devil's advocate, but we're just talking facts here, okay? Now, the starting salary for a full-time teacher entering into public school to teach full-time is more than double the full-time entry of most civil servants. As a matter of fact, I believe it's only firemen who have a higher entry level than teachers do. And I don't think anybody would disagree that teachers, educators, and me being an educator myself, I don't teach in the classroom, but I do workshops for teachers, teach the teachers who are going to teach the students, and of course I tour and educate, though only for 2 hours, thousands of Bahamian students every year, right? And I commend teachers who in the classroom, because the little 2, 3, 4 hours I used to have them children for, I used to be ready to go crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So this is something where I think the minister's statements needs to be taken into consideration as well, And if I do recall correctly, it was just in 2002 when the last BUT agreement was signed and they received raises. And just last April, the other union of teachers, I think is about 900 to 1,000 members, somewhere or thereabouts, they just received a 16.5% increase in their salary, as well as an increase in that. And it's, of course, still not enough. there are many facets of our society that are underpaid. You know, the cost of living is absolutely ridiculous. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, as the High Commissioner said, these things are almost mutually exclusive. You understand what I'm saying? And I have to be, you know, be a Pan-Africanist, and I can't hold my tongue on certain issues, you know. I lose sleep over that. I feel like the ancestors just could be tapping me on my shoulder, saying, baby, why you want to talk about that? Right?
I'm glad how you call it the ancestors. We just used to call it ghosts, right?
Right? Or what they call it? Spirit.
Spirits.
Spirit, they call it in Kid Island, you know, spirit. But at the end of the day, you know, this is something that we are all in the same boat with. You understand? Whether you're talking about journalists, whether you're talking about police, firemen, people who work in the heritage space, we are all underpaid to a degree. This has to do with many, many, many factors. Inflation, you know, and inflation has very little to do with any local Bahamian politician, right? Which is different than price gouging and other things. So we have to have a unified front in these issues, right? And yes, there are many teachers. I have family members who work in the classroom. I have people who are friends of mine who are like family that work in the classroom. And teachers have been habitually done. But at the same time, you know, we in the Bahamas are part of the African diaspora. I don't know if you've been following what's been going on in South Africa recently, where their xenophobia is like 20 times worse than ours. You understand?
And the white woman get locked up in South Africa for calling the guy a kike or kick or something like that.
Kefa, right. So,
you're good at this, right?
Yeah. I know all the racial.
Call him a
epithets.
kefa.
Right, which is what Mahatma Gandhi used
And
to
he
call us
got-
too. But anyway,
She got 3 years.
yeah, rightfully so, because you
That's
can't do them things there, you know. However, though, to make a parallel, you know, much of that xenophobia in South Africa is directed to other members of the African diaspora. When we look at, so generally, I think we could safely say public schools in the Bahamas, government schools in the Bahamas, pay more to their teachers on average than private schools. When people think private school, they usually think the highest echelon, the ones that cost in 20, 30,000, them set out west and them set far out east and stuff like that. And we in the Bahamas, you see it with our anti-immigration sort of outlook as well, right? Where we target the lower hanging fruit, so to speak, right? Yet, as I mentioned earlier, I went to QC, and most of my teachers were British, but I ain't had no one yet ask for that, and these are the high-paying jobs, right or wrong.
But you went to QC, I went to 8 Maracay, and most of my teachers, when I went to Martintown, were British.
Right.
In the 80s, were British.
Exactly.
I only knew, listen to me, these people, you remember, I don't know if you remember, we used to do like pen pals.
Right.
All of my pen pals were from England.
Mm-hmm.
All of my pen pals, we had to wait weeks and weeks to be able to get a thing. All my pen pals, all of my buddies who we would being able to, you know, you start to write and you learn how to be able to structure the letter, and you need to be able to do these, and the body, you send it off to your friend and your friend sends it back. So whoever these people are, I never meet these people.
Yeah.
But because of the connection, everyone was English.
Right.
Everyone was English.
Yeah.
And there's something we don't know how to be able to differentiate and pull ourselves away from this sort of an idea. And I hate to be one of the persons who come to the forefront and say this, is that our conditioning is so steeped, if it's white is right.
Yep.
We're so steeped in this sort of an idea and this rejection of Ghana. You haven't said that when the Barbadians came, when Trinidad, Tobago, Jamaica, Cuba, all of these things within the region, you accepted that. With this sort of an idea of being able to go back, you say, what these people speak? If you do your history, you would understand who these people are. It's just simple.
I would love to address that one.
Well, these people don't speak English. Talk to me about it.
I used to be in places in Ghana where Ghanaians have never been or don't even know exist. I used to be in the cut, like some people. I know if I a little old now. I know if the young fellas still using that term, but I used to be in the cut. And I can assure you.
Well, you know, I know what that is.
Yeah,
but younger people don't know what the cut is.
In the most rural areas in Ghana that I've traveled, where we got to drive 7, 8, 9, 10 hours and stuff to get there, roads that are not paved and all of that. their English is more easily understandable, and I can pick on my own people than if you go to Orange Creek, Kid Island, and I promise you that. Okay? And English, as well as Twi, is their national language. Actually very similar to us, right? So you, Mr. Grant, you go away right now to participate in something in the United States or Canada, you know? And I'm not saying no proper English versus bad English thing. That's completely thrown out the door. People from Manchester and Liverpool in the heart of England speak the worst English in the world. I don't care what the one say.
What's up, bruv?
Right.
Bruv.
The Mike
I still
accent
don't
and
know.
the Scouser accent. That's
I
what
don't
they
know who
call
these
it.
people is.
Right. Yeah, you can understand that, you know. But when you look at, it's similar to us. So in Ghana, they have something called a pidgin, right? Which is like our Gullah Geechee. Okay, so the way we're speaking now is probably more closer to standard English, right? But if me and you get excited, you know, all the boy and the mother sick and the mother and all these things start coming around, and oftentimes even when I deal with visitors to the Bahamas, some of them even put me on the side and be like, y'all bilingual, like, what's that other language y'all speak? I say it's not another language per se.
I don't know how they
It's
identify it
Gullah
as another language.
Right, you see?
It's English.
Right. So just like us in the Bahamas, we can speak standard English, understand standard English, but we have our Gullah Geechee. It's the same thing with them. They have their Ghanaian pidgin, what they speak. You know, so they say things like, "Oi, Charlie," you know, they say things like, "Oi," you know, all these different sound effects that they make and all of that. And their hand gestures are a little different, but there will be no language barrier. And I think this is a good time to even mention a few of the African teachers that had an influence on my life personally, right? And those of you who around our age would remember Mr. Anyani. Mr. Anyani
You
taught.
paused like I knew him.
He taught us.
Mr. Anyani's not from Grand Bahama.
Oh yeah.
I
right.
only learned in Grand Bahama.
Right. Mr. I got an A in my PGCSE mathematics because of Mr. Anyani.
Ooh.
As a matter of fact, when we talking about mathematics, Africans invented mathematics. But we like to start in Greece with Pythagoras theorem. But when you look at the pyramids, you look all over, it's that. When you look at the Yoruba and the Igbo counting system, where they count in 13s, they have some of the most complex number systems ever. And when you go into their classrooms, the ones that I've been in, I've seen primary school students doing what our middle school students doing in mathematics. I get an Asafo, which is a clan of warriors that are around me. All of these young brothers, all them 28, between 28 and 21. All these, some of them fellas get 2 masters and things like that. Education, and this brings me to my next point. This is where
I think you're going where I want to go.
Okay, go ahead. Let me let you go first.
Education has been paramount.
Thank you.
For they actually there's a parallel between education and liberty.
Right.
And the access to being able to see true liberation has always been through education.
Yes.
And that's not only in Ghana, we could see that span throughout the continent.
Right.
A lot of persons gravitate towards, okay, so let's say whether you move in Boston, whether you move in New York, whether you move in Oklahoma, wherever you are, and there's a concentration of Africans, they're always pursuing more and more and more education.
Yes.
No matter where they are, they pursue more and more and more education. Yesterday, I started to have this kind of a conversation about after Andre Burba, in his particular capacity, who would have been charged for molesting the child. Now, these people just get a little cringy. Oh my God, why can't? Oh, don't say that. These things are documented.
Public.
This is public information. This is documented information, so stop it, right? So after Andre Burba would have been able to do that, a lot of the local teachers, especially teachers who had been steeped in the system, stepped away from this sort of an idea of being able to support, right? So teachers who used to say, I think you got potential, why don't you come and do an after school class? I can stay back with you, I can do this, I can do that. Those teachers have pulled back from it locally. And then the culture shifted in our country, I want to say over the past 2 decades, where there has been this sort of an exchange. There's an expectation for you to be able to produce. And as a result of you being able to produce and do your job, teachers will start saying things, well, I don't care if you learn or you don't learn. I getting paid.
Yeah. Right.
And this is what we see locally. This is unfortunate. It's just what we see locally. is there a possibility, the first thing that my mind popped up when I started to have this kind of a conversation, there's a possibility that that passion, that desire for education, higher learning, being able to move into that, can be transposed in the classroom by these particular persons, and this is great stuff.
100%. They take education extremely seriously. As a matter of fact, oftentimes when I travel to Ghana and I want to link up with this brother or the next brother or this sister or the next sister, you know, it's a large group of us, mostly a hundred people that sort of work with us.
They laugh at you when you studied, you know.
Yeah, what?
Only in our society
listen,
they smile at this sort of an idea.
When they got their independence, one of the first things they did, they have specialist universities. They have universities that just deal with teachers. The University of Education in Winneba, which I've had the privilege of not just visiting, but also contributing and doing presentations there. You have the university, the Takoradi Technical Institute, right? You have the University of Ghana. You have the University of Cape Coast that I'm going to be attending. I can drop what I can be doing there soon, you know, and that's actually the third highest ranked university on the entire continent of Africa, right there in Ghana. You know how much it costs to get into a graduate program at the University of Ghana, the University of Cape Coast, roughly, tuition?
I would like to know.
Less than $1,000.
And you get world-class education second to none.
Okay.
For less than $1,000,
particularly if you're dealing with
and we home
subjects,
have to
right?
content with being dumb because we ain't got the money, right?
Right. All right, you understand? So
we got to sit down and say, well, you know, I guess I can be dumb.
So there's this idea that because it's Africa we dealing with, and it could have been any country, I could tell you, this idea that we the ones got to provide them aid and like they just coming to suck off us and all that.
That's just a conditioning. I think that stems from $1 for just 67 cents a day. You can feed a starving
Right,
African
exactly.
child, right? And then with the advent of social media and the access that persons are giving you independently to be able to see logos and other places like that, you say these places futuristic. I can't believe this Africa. You be looking, but you know something, that's the same concept when people came to the Bahamas for the very first time.
Oh yeah,
right? Working in the hotel years ago, people would say, where do you guys live? We live right around here, right? So how do your homes look?
better than yours.
These homes are great, right? I mean, like, do you live in huts, ma'am? Hurricanes hit us all the time. In fact, if you look at it, after 1993, the hurricane. This is the conversation I have. And I said, after 1993, Hurricane Andrew, they took our building methods and those standards that we had for building our homes. They applied it in South Florida.
Yes, they did.
That's because of what we did here locally. Really? No, but how would you guys live in huts, right? Where the hell do you think you are? Do I look like I live in a hut? Look at my size, ma'am. I cannot fit in a hut. You can put me outside to live with mud? We don't do that.
Clearly, me and you are well-fed
What
gentlemen.
you mean? We just eat here. I've been in Miami more than you. I'm from Oklahoma. I've been to Miami. I've been to the whole East Coast. We travel.
Right.
And people don't believe that. They don't believe that we have these particular things. And so this is just a conditioning, a mindset. I believe that in your environment it says, hey, listen, everything outside of this, that's like the Truman Show.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It's like the Truman Show.
That's a great analogy. Yeah.
It's like the Truman Show. It needs to make you to understand that civility, opportunity, comfort, access, and these sort of the things that you've become accustomed to only exist here.
Right.
If you go any place else, you won't have it. And that's wild. That's wild, because anywhere you go, you can be able to access those things.
Certainly, and I think that shout out to Dr. Cornell Collins Lignum Institute. He was my project management professor. And he, when I first met this man, I didn't like him because he was like talking all these things.
What do you name? Cornell?
Collins. I said, this fella has come to the
You know, the first person came to my mind when you say Cornell.
Yeah.
Cornell West.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he talks about this concept that's not unique to the Bahamas, of course, called the fishbowl mentality, right? I have seen educators say things like, y'all expect us to teach in inhumane conditions. the boys in Ghana do very well in school. Princess Town, where John Canoe, the man we know as John Canoe, is the chief.
Isn't there a
where he
Princess
lived.
Town in Jamaica also?
In Trinidad. In Trinidad, they have some other ones. All of them are sort of linked through German
They
colonization.
don't have a Princess Town in Jamaica? No.
Not as far as I know. It might be, but not as far as
Okay,
I know.
okay.
It could be, yeah. But I know for sure there's one in southern Trinidad,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. So the point I'm making: suffering in this fishbowl mentality, suffering is relative. When I go to Princess Town and I driving around Ahonto, it's changed now because the government has changed. They have some awesome people. I tell them, man, we need to do a damn politician exchange. Because they get one, man, the municipal chief
Look what this man doing.
executive.
He know this my forte.
They get
He know
one-
this my
listen,
forte.
let me
When talk
pick
about
up- let me-
politics,
let
you
me
need to
pick
stop.
up- Let me pick up some of these people, man. They
Go
get
ahead.
a municipal chief executive by the name of Ebenezer Adu. You understand, man? This fella. Remember when Barack Obama come into office? This fella come into office, his beard was black. 2 years later, his beard gray. And this fella
Stress.
is a civil engineer, man, always on the road, reaching home 2 a.m., back on the road at 5 and 6, and these are things I've witnessed personally. We have the member of parliament, Kokwa, who actually visited recently. You know, she is doing the Hunter Heritage Month that I have the
Who
privilege
came and
of.
visited me?
It was it a lady?
No, it was a guy.
That would have been the former minister of tourism or deputy
He
minister.
came
of
and
tourism
visited
or
me. Give me a
finance.
hat. He still called me right now. I could get his.
Right, yeah. So you know, and
These people want me to be African. You know, I coming
listen,
over.
the
I coming over.
enthusiasm in Ghana towards this stuff. But the point I'm originally making is this fishbowl mentality, and also another point is that suffering is relative. You understand? When you see how some of the people live in other parts of the world with no AC, you put them in AC, they get sick immediately. My grandfather was like that. Then you get fellas like me and you who can't survive without AC.
No, I can't even sleep.
I can't survive without AC.
I don't want my wife touch me.
You know, you understand what I'm saying? So suffering is relative. And so when we walk in a classroom and we say ain't no AC, of course that's a problem. And it should have AC, and the AC needed to get fixed. And this is not about us lowering our standards and accepting mediocrity.
Sir, this
Of
is
course
Queen.
not.
This is Queen College you're talking about,
Right, you see?
This can't be in Maracay.
But
Because you know AC there yet.
Right, but at the end of the day, to say because you don't have AC that it's inhumane conditions, you know, it really comes from a place of comfort and elitism relative to the rest of the African diaspora. When you go to some of these places, some of these schools, small. I don't even want to. If you see where some of these kids go to school, my brother, I can send you some pictures. These like open yards, some of them in a village called Javanais. Shout out to my sister Mabel, where her family from. Javanais. The people asked me to build them a school and help them to advocate to build a school. All them children is go underneath the silk cotton tree for class.
But was it
Math,
that they said they was doing
English.
that down in Cat Island or someplace at one point?
At one point, yeah.
Yeah.
But Kid Island has an actual building.
Well,
you know?
actually, they revisited
Right.
some of it during after the hurricanes. They would have been able to. No. During the
pandemic.
The pandemic.
The pandemic, right.
The pandemic.
So I think that was a part of the reason, right? And I think that the pandemic was used as an opportunity to do a lot of repairs and all of these different things. But the point I'm making is we are actually truly blessed in the Bahamas. We have, and again, I will advocate for teachers to get more pay all day, every day, because you know what that means, Howard? I mean, I get a little bit more pay too. You understand what I said? But at the end of the day, we have to really see what's best for the country and really best for the children. And I think that sometimes, you know, if you have long-standing frustrations, you know, other people is getting beat. So right now, it seems like Cooper is getting beat with all of the sticks of the former ministers of education. And one of the strongest points for me, as I was mentioning, all my brothers, some of these fellas get 2 and 3 masters and things like that, right? Legitimate 2 and 3 masters and stuff like that. I get one of my brothers, we call him Bailey X. He get a master's in civil engineering. You understand? Education is extremely important to them, and it's extremely affordable, not just for Bahamians, but also for them. Now, with this culture of boys excelling in academia, you don't think that a little bit of that is needed over here?
This is a deep conversation.
You don't think we
having.
need some male teachers in the classroom?
You know where my mind gone directly when we start to have this kind of a conversation about accessibility to education,
Right.
and to higher education. That has been in the Western world form of segregation.
So 100%. But you're pricing people
In
out.
the Western world,
Right.
even if you do the historic aspect, whether that was housing, whether that was education, they've identified the proverbial red line and separated environments and communities and made things, in your mind, more expensive, but it was still accessible. You never could understand. And you look from a historic standpoint, white person, black person, same environment, same accessibility, so forth and so on. White person get access to a home, so forth, and they could be able to move forward based upon relationship. And you assume they have money. Where do they get money from? Because you got white friends who went to school with you,
Right.
who didn't have anything, and they are established. Where did they get this establishment from? Think about this in right in the society. Where did they get this establishment from? You got white people who would have gone to school with you, and you know they dumb as a box of nails. You don't want to say this. You don't want to say this. And I don't mean nothing disparaging about these particular things. You know they couldn't read.
Right.
All of us was in the same class, this grade 9, and you cannot read.
Your eyebrow dead big and your tongue dead heavy. We can
Okay.
get that right there.
And now you're CEOs to companies. How does this happen? Where does this come from? Where you get this money from? Who give you access to these things? And everybody in society accept that as the way that things are. This line of segregation, especially through education, that separated us. This line, think about this, environments in Nassau more specifically, let's use Nassau as an example. Environments in Nassau more specifically, where persons could be able to, especially after Hubert Ingram would have done what he's done as it relates to the Immovable Property Act. We could not afford homes, and blacks could not afford these particular things. They still was whites who we knew didn't have certain access was able to get in certain communities. How did these things happen? There's a line that segregates, and I'm hearing what you're saying.
Yeah.
And the segregation in these particular areas in the Western world is education, is housing, is social accessibility, and that relationship that exists in these particular spaces still thrives unpronounced. When we are in this kind of a space and we say, okay, well, that's just what it is. But if we look at Ghana, we still have this conditioning and say, oh, they're less than when they got education accessibility.
Oh, yeah.
This is crazy, isn't it?
Oh, and another thing you see rampant on, so you better make sure they qualified now. You better
But
make sure they
listen to me,
qualified.
if you have ever, I don't know, see, people need to start to travel.
Yeah.
And you know what I give God praise for? I live in I work in a hotel. I met the entire world in one. I never move. I met the entire world, and some of the most illiterate people to global movement and these particular concepts. Like, for instance, Americans they are flabbergasted by the size of football or soccer, what they call soccer. Yeah. They are flabbergasted by the movement, how billions of people follow these particular people.
Oh, yeah.
Because America is confined to the space of 350-some million people.
Fishbowl mentality.
And they don't look externally.
Right.
You understand? So when they travel to America, when they travel outside of America, everything is, ooh, ah, wow, I can't believe that they actually have asphalt here. What are you talking about? You thought, what are you talking about? You guys have cars?
Right.
Mom, I got a 2026. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? They are confined to the knowledge that it only exists at arm's reach in their space. And this is what I've learned over the years. If you've ever sat down and spoken with an African, you feel dumb right away.
Yeah.
I don't care where they're from. I don't care who yard they sweeping up or mopping. I don't care what they're doing for survival in the Western world. If you sit down and speak with them, you say, "Man, I don't think I read enough. I don't think I've done enough. I need to do more." Because they are so savvy on world events and really and they keep themselves updated. Now, I can't show all of it, but the ones who I've met.
Yeah.
Listen, I've lived in Colorado for a couple months. They actually wanted me to stay in Colorado. I was so scared, right?
Too cold.
It felt too gothic.
Got you. I know just where you coming from.
It was too gothic. It wasn't my
not
space.
Not vibrant enough, not colorful
and then
enough. Yeah,
all the colors was just so dull and dark.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be there, right? I wear a bright color and it was like, who's this bright Negro, right? It's like a living hole, right? So I lived there, and I met Africans there. These are some of the most in tune, educated people that are working just to get by, and they're pursuing higher education in their particular capacity. We have to stop looking down on these particular people and understand that there is something, a deposit in them, and they take a true level of pride. That's what I'm saying. I believe that if this happens, that we could find ourselves in the position where there could be passion for education. Passion.
Exactly.
Because nobody has a desire for these things. In fact, they've taken on the concept and idea of a lot of the American artists, such as Kanye West, who says that you don't need education. You don't need to go to college. You don't need to do any of these. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they start to really quantify it and say, well, if I could make money off of YouTube and I am doing this and I'm doing that, why do I need to go to college?
I would argue, I think sometimes it goes into the same point that you're making. We have a very sort of westernized outlook, because you don't have to go to school or university to be quote unquote educated, right? There's a fella right there in Southern Kid Island, Ivan Roll from McQueen's. He knows all of the old original techniques, how they used to build all the old slave house using this technique called tabi. And he has built the lime kiln. You understand? And this fella ain't been to school to do that. But he teaching some young fellas now how to build the lime kiln too.
There's exception and there's a rule.
Man, I staying in Kid Island right now. I get my brother.
Now, Kid Island is exceptional.
I get my brother.
And I know you want to be able to say condolences to
of course,
the young,
we can get to that,
young
right.
Diamond.
Yes.
Just
Diamond,
the story.
Stanley, Barika, all five of them. And
just the story.
Yeah.
Of Diamond encouraging girls to move towards education.
Right.
Just the story from coming from Cat Island and having access to be able to go off to school because of your determination that existed in your spirit. Education has been one of the, I think that's why you're advocating for it so strong, because Cat Island has always been sort of the birthplace of innovation and determination in our country as relates to education.
And it's also the most African island too, man. If there's a
because of the bottles in the tree,
all of that, man. The way we look, the way we yak, the
because
way
of
we
the
talk.
because of the tree, because of the y'all
we
need
can
to
do
stop.
another show on that.
Stop, right? No, but see, I like this, and I like this kind of a conversation. I think it's there's always this. Let me take it back to the core of our conversation. There will always be room for an adjutant to, whether it's pseudo or otherwise, to be able to speak for the preservation of the comforts that exist in this space.
Right.
I don't expect anything else. And I don't say this disparagingly. I don't expect Belinda not to do this. I expect her to do her part. This is what she's getting paid for.
Yeah.
This is why she has found herself back in this position over 10 times.
I just gonna
This
say
is
why she
her
keep winning.
relentless agitation, and maybe she'd have a different position.
And ain't no one want no smoke with her.
Maybe she'd have a different position quietly within her own right and position, but that'll never come out publicly. She has a responsibility to a grouping of people. And then when you look at this, do these Africans have access to getting in the union? We know that foreigners tend to kind of shy away from these particular things. It's potentially up to 300 people that may not necessarily be participants in the union. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these are things that you have to think about, and why she continues to be able to do this. And if we're going to be real about these things and look at the statistical data and information and identify these things, the truth is that are young people gravitating towards this? I'm telling you, this reciprocity, this sort of an exchange, this kind of, all right, I showed up for work, pay me. is ridding us of the true passion of being able to pour into education. You maybe find one person out of 50 who has a true passion for education, who, as a young person in their 20s, gets into education and focuses on it and really commits to that. Everyone else identifies this as an even exchange. I'm showing up to work and doing what you require. I just need to be paid. And that conveys to the children. They know their teacher ain't concerned about that. Why? Because they following their teacher on social media. They following their teacher on Facebook. They following their teacher on other platforms. And this small island, they could see their teacher when they go out in these particular places wearing the hoochie mama clothes and so forth and so on. These things happen.
And this is not to negate the great work that teachers do.
We can't do that.
But
just
it's a cultural thing, you know. And
Julian, you're on with us, my brother. What's happening?
Good afternoon, Howard Grant.
Good afternoon.
And the name of your guest is?
Christopher Davis is Nana John Canoe.
Afternoon, sir.
What is that?
Chief John Canoe II. That's my title in Ghana.
You can call him Chief. Go ahead.
Okay. I said something on yesterday, Brother Grant, and you said that you got a little offended. But I come from a slate of teachers. Mm-hmm. You know my brother, Bishop Reno Smith.
I know
he used to be a school teacher at Donald Davis. My sister, Tryon Ferguson Archer, she used to be a guidance counselor at the F.C. McFerguson School. Mm-hmm. My other sister, my older sister, Altamise Ferguson, up to her death, she was the master, not the headmaster, the master teacher at Galvantines Primary. Then she died. Melinda Wilson spoke at a funeral. It was only 126 of them in the Bahamas, master teachers. My sister Altamise, and I challenge anybody to refute it, she mastered in 9 subjects. 9. So when I talk about teachers, I know about teachers. I grew up around teachers. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now this thing about if we don't get, they cry, say they need some teachers. Mm-hmm. The minister of those went and found some teachers. Now it's a problem they found the teachers because they didn't take her or they didn't consult with her before they went to go look for the teachers. That's what I'm getting. I listened to Mr. Cooper, the Honorable Minister. He said that he already spoke with one of the unions. They're straight. He reached out to Ms. Melinda Wilson about 2 weeks ago. They supposed to be having a meeting. She said that she's trying to put the cart before the horse. He said that the teachers are getting their raise. All while I was talking about this money, I thought they owe these teachers this money. I thought these teachers didn't work for this money. Nope. There's a few of them that they owe some money to, like some people who does some after-school thing. But these teachers, they're getting their raise, so they're bringing in these people from Ghana. They got nothing to do with their money.
Right. So I would also...
they're trying to put a switch on this thing to make the ministry look bad.
I think the harm was...
And these people, I'm going to say it for the 1900 times, they got to realize election is over.
Yeah, right. I was just going to say something similar. I think a lot of harm was done when certain characters tried to hop on the bandwagon and politicize it. Not referring to Belinda Wilson, but to others, right? And see, again, we have very short memories. If I recall correctly, the last time the teachers got a raise would have been 2022 under the same administration. And I hear your concerns, but it's important not to chastise our union. Now, me personally, I'm a big fan of unions.
Go ahead, Julian.
But we have to be careful that it don't appear that we trying to chastise any of the union leaders, because they, of course, have a certain role to play. But we also have to remember that they did receive a raise in their new industrial agreement in 2022, right? And just in April, another one was signed with the other union. It's like 7 letters in the acronym. allied workers, something, I don't know, I forget what it's called, but it's another teachers union that also deals with education administrators. And they just got a 16.5% increase as well. And I personally know teachers who have just been hired, and this goes along with every issue. The people, let me just use it in common for him in vernacular. Only the people who ain't straight yet can be making all this kind of noise. Now, Howard, if you was a teacher now and they say, yeah, man, you gonna go work here and you can be teaching these 2 subjects and see this, your 40 grand a year, and me selling you back to 8 Mile Rock and all of these things, you can be calling the radio complaining about. You understand what I'm saying? And that's with any issue, and anyone has a right to complain and to strive for more. But I think too, when you look at it nationally, and I wouldn't call myself an outright socialist, but I certainly have socialist outlooks and socialist sentiments. And when I apply that to this, at the end of the day, as I understand it, the starting salary, which was just increased in 2022, I believe it was from 23 or 24,000, but now it's 28.5. So any full-time public school teacher that's coming in, their beginning salary is 28.5. The starting salary for a full-time civil servant is 13,000, so that's more than double. You understand? And this is not to negate the work and the importance that teachers do, but the custodian is also important. You understand? And all of these things. And so there are lower hanging fruits as well. And even when you look at the comments about, and when you look at smaller groups, it's easy to deal with that bill. For me, it's quite simple. If you get a $300 light bill, and you can go deal with, and you only have $1,000, you can go deal with that $300 light bill. But if you have a $5,000 car bill, you gotta wait a little while till you can raise that money and sort things out. And it's the same thing. We have 41 members of parliament. I don't know how many senators and all of these things, but it's certainly dwarfed by the amount of educators that we have. And so you're looking at a completely different bill, and a lot of times these things are conflated. I do wonder sometimes.
But it's strategically identified.
Right.
The persons in charge who wish to be able to ensure that agitation moves in their direction will conflict the issues.
Right.
That's what they do.
Right.
And listen to me. I don't have... Julian, you still with us? Julian, you're gone. All right?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. Let's be very clear with this.
Mm-hmm.
I do not give Belinda wrong for her agitation.
Yeah, neither do I.
I don't give her wrong for her agitation. I don't say that she's wrong. I don't say that Belinda needs to shut up and be quiet. I don't say any of those things. I'm simply saying that if she is the con column, there must be a pro column. There must be adjutants to be able to identify the positives that can be able to come out of this. There must be a conversation that spans beyond our nose bridge to be able to see the horizon and the potential that could exist in these particular spaces. And how do we do that? By being able to give a strong, healthy contrast, by being able to talk past, present, future, talk about the education that exists in there, talk about whether or not we've lost our identity because the education system and the educators that have trained us over the past decades and decades, from the inception of even prior to independence, have we lost our identity? Have we lost who we are? Are we now conformed to, okay, let's take this as an example. Haitians, first generation Haitians who were born here to Haitian parents in this country, okay? You like to put them to significant task because of Flag Day. Now, their Flag Day ain't our Flag Day. We never had no Flag Day. The woman told me last night, she said there shouldn't be 2 Flag Days in the country. I said, let's be clear. We have independence. We don't have no Flag Day in the Bahamas.
Right, we got majority rule.
We have majority rule. We have independence. This is what we have.
Yeah.
We don't have Flag Day. Flag Day is for Haitians. Now, let's be clear about this. The reason why there's a level of concentration that exists in these particular spaces is because these people come into our society and find themselves in communities that continue to be able to thrive and mix amongst each other. They never become a part of the community per se. And so everything, all of those elements that would have brought with them all the way from Haiti is still celebrated in a new space. That's just what it is.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Just like Bahamians who moved
Just
to
like a
Atlanta.
Bahamians
it's
who
too
move
chunk
any place else. So when we identify
right.
these things and we start to talk about what's happening here and why this kind of a segregation and separation is only because of education. However, the first generation Bahamians still have this thriving passion for the Bahamas. They Bahamians.
Exactly.
They understand liberty. They understand access. They understand their passport. They can travel. Their mother can't go nowhere. They could go to Miami to cousins who they never see and bring back things for mama. She can't go.
And in fact, you don't know they have Haitian descent until you see their passport.
You don't know this.
Or until you see them speaking Creole with their mommy.
You didn't know this.
Other than that, they speak exactly.
See, but this is what's happening in this country now. When we identify these things and we talk about these things, you were afraid of these things.
Yeah.
These children, first generation Haitians, gone to our schools and they learn to be Bahamian.
Exactly.
They learn to be Bahamian. You ever see the Chinese fella and he opened his mouth? He said, "Mother sick." Where this guy come from? Where is it? Chinese fella, 100%. He looked like a Chinese. You listen.
Ethnically Chinese.
You swear.
Politically Bahamian.
This man just reached here, and he opened his mouth. He said, "We saying by everything good." Oh, whoa! What's this guy? These people did not. They gain by coming to our schools, and they have foreign teachers.
Yep.
Think about what I'm saying to you. They gained the culture, the language, the disposition of who we are, even the mindset and the rhythm of how we live, right when we had foreign teachers in our schools. With foreign parents. Watch me. They got foreign parents, they're going to school with foreign teachers, and they more Bahamian than most of us. They are here talking and you can't even see that.
Russian and
you ain't gonna, what you gonna lose?
Right.
What you gonna lose?
Yeah. We have unfortunately, as I say all the time, our biggest blessing is also our biggest curse. So, and that's our proximity to the United States and the cultural influence thereof. You know, man, we like basketball, we like NFL, baseball. We've produced fellas going over get their education because of it. We got people like Jazz Chisholm and Shawnee Miller. We could go on and on. But at the same time, there's another aspect of this culture, and we've adopted this thing that is complete garbage, which is the American replacement theory. It is utter and complete garbage and has no sociological or scientific foundation. This is where the word xenophobia comes in. Phobia is an irrational fear. And you might think something is rational, but it's not. Let's pivot to another cultural group that exists in the Bahamas, the Greeks. When they have Greek Fest, have you ever, except for maybe me, seen a Bahamian complain about Greek Fest? Ever?
They look forward to it.
We look forward to it. We participate. When you go down East Hill Street and you pass the Greek Art Church, they ain't got a big Greek flag flying high on the flagpole.
Yeah.
Sometimes with no Bahamian flag.
Yeah.
So constantly, not periodically, not only on May 18th.
If you speak to the Greeks, they feel as though they have a right to be here just like you.
Right. Well, they do.
If you speak to the Greeks,
because we are talking,
they start to give you the history of who they are and where they came from.
They ain't get into that with me because.
No, but I mean, it's general.
Yeah, but the Greeks were brought here as a buffer, and they helped implement the truck and credit system through the sponging industry. We can do another show on that for another day. And it even further solidifies my point. Here we have a group of people that were brought in by the colonizer to serve as a buffer between us to take over an industry that was created by us. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that we should hate Greeks or chastise Greeks. What I'm saying is we have the correct attitude.
Greeks is the number one in sponging industry right now.
Well, yeah.
Right here at home, locally.
Yeah, well.
They've actually been consistent for over 60, almost 70 years.
Yeah, but people don't know the history of that. Just read the book, The Land of the Pink Pearl, written by J.D. Powells. It's free. You could download it as a PDF. Go and read that, and it'll certainly give you, let's just call it, better perspective. But the point I'm making here is, what is one of the most Bahamian dishes? It was like a tradition for me that when I come home from school, the first thing I go in for is my gumbe punch and my conch snack. Now that conch snack that we eat, we never used to make crack conch before the 1890s, the 1900s, 1910s, 1920s. We were stewing conch, grilling conch, and doing all it, but we ain't had no crack conch. You know where crack conch come from? The same techniques the Greeks used for their calamari. The Greeks bring that here. You understand? And now Krakow is distinctly Bahamian. And cultural diversity creates this.
And cultural exchange.
And exactly. You understand? Now the thing, I'll continue.
So you fortify your culture.
Thank you very much. You see? So the Kong's still there.
So what you're saying to me indirectly.
Stew Kong's still there.
I run ahead
Grill
of things.
Kong's still there.
So you're saying to me our peas and rice could eventually turn to fufu and be out here sitting down eating peas and rice like this.
It ain't gonna turn to no fufu. Right? What might happen is, they get that chili powder in Ghana with super spicy, and then maybe a little.
And listen, I can't take too spicy food. Let me just let you know. I see these people in Ghana and eating all these spicy food and whatnot, all their forehead hot. Sir, if it go in hot, it coming out hot. You need to stop it as you sit on the edge of your toilet. You need to stop it.
No, they don't use this peppers like we use. They have this special chili powder.
I don't care how special it is. You leave that. Goat pepper is the farthest I can go. You ain't got to crush nothing up and dry it for me.
Yeah.
I see when they go down to Tyrone say how much pepper you want. I say put a little bit. People a little bit too much. Tyrone, I can't eat this. You're trying to kill me.
Yeah, and culture is something, diversity, particularly among the African diaspora, it's something that needs to be celebrated. When we even look at Junkanoo, you think Junkanoo today is the same Junkanoo they was doing in 70 and
No
50,
way. Junkanoo over the past 30 years as they incorporated so much things.
Thank you. They ain't tell you they going to Trinidad.
All the and listen to me.
And does that enhance the parade or
we are
diminish
there
it?
jamming, everybody whining, they can't even take it. Ooh,
exactly.
Wait.
And when they introduce new concepts, sometimes it's rejected and sometimes it's embraced.
Yeah, because you remember that they've actually introduced a couple of things over the years to Junkanoo, and then by the next parade they say, I think this is not an element for us. They kind of move it. And so they keep, I don't know whether or not that's because we identify ourselves as still molding, still growing, or whatever the case may be at 53 years old in our independence, but we're open enough to take in things. And we're open enough to be able to kind of reject certain ideas and say this is not a part of our culture and identity. One of the things most recently would have been able to hear Ghetto Pinky Sauce, his song, as a Bahamian, right? Coming Home, right? When we heard that song, the first elements that was introduced to us with hip hop and rake and scrape and culture would have been by D-Mac.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we hip hop heads. We love
baby music.
We hip hop heads. We love this thing. To be able to hear the Bahamian flavor in that, but the cultural exchange made it absolutely undeniable.
Thank you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially for a younger generation whose ears are tuned to the frequency of what's happening from an external standpoint. So when we identify these things, this, in my mind, will not take away from who I am as an individual. And I believe that that's a mindset that exists in our country. You believe that you lose your identity if you accept anything else.
Yeah.
Now the issue that I have, my uncle was married to a Dominican when I was very young. And she came into the house, I was maybe about 4 years old, 5 years old, and she started to teach me Spanish. I started to talk Spanish. My granddaddy said, "What the hell are you doing, boy? You speaking no damn Spanish and this, blah, 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 blah." And it took me almost for 15 years after visiting Cuba, living in Cuba, to dive right back into the thing that my granddaddy rejected 15 years ago.
Serious thing.
Cultural diversity, expansion has to be able to move beyond the comforts that we have as a people. And this is one of the things that I say. In our culture, in our country, it is an anomaly. It is a farce, this sort of an idea for people to pursue excellence and success. We've seen far too much people pursue contentment. And because you pursue contentment, you're satisfied with an island experience, when you're designed to be able to prepare yourself for a global exchange. And you can learn but different cultures. I had a teacher from Barbados. Mm-hmm. She married a Bahamian. And she said, "Howard, you better learn how to do these things, because when you get ready," in the 11th grade, she said, "when you get ready and you have to work for the white man, The white man, this black woman from a black country, coming in a black country to get me prepared to work for a white man none of us meet yet. This is too much.
Let me tell you.
This is, and I trying to make you to understand,
For
if there is a people, if education could be able to be responsible enough to make you to understand your identity, to empower you, to educate you, and to prepare you, I'm all down for that. I'm down for that.
Oh yeah,
I'm down for that.
And again, and people don't understand. You know, people love the Bahamas. You know, people. There are so many people who would love to live here. I had my own Bayesian teacher, who for most of my high school career at QC was my homeroom teacher. I can give him a shout out too, Ian Young. And man, this fella had such a profound influence, and he, all the boys in the school loved this man so much because he was just so cool, and he just had a way of connecting with us. He was a music teacher. He used to help out with some of the sports teams as well, right? And this guy plays bass. You know who he's played bass for? Visage.
Really?
Yeah, for years.
Really?
A Bayesian man playing bass for Visage. And this man is be having more rhythm and love Bahamian music more than you understand what I'm saying? And it's strange because, you know, we don't have a problem watching the Super Bowl and all that. You know what I mean? And think about it. What if some American was to tell you, oh, you're not American, so you shouldn't
But that's
watch
like
the
America.
Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Think about
Like,
this.
Yeah.
If in Queens, if in the 5 boroughs of New York, they've rejected Jamaicans,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have hip hop today.
Certainly not. Notorious B.I.G., Heavy D, Busta Rhymes.
Hip
all
hop
these
was
fellas.
started
Yep.
even what's his name? The old DJ.
Them FBA fellas don't like this narrative though.
Hip hop was started by Jamaicans.
Yeah.
Hip hop was started by Jamaicans. This is hip hop. The hip hop you love right now, all of these guys, their core, if you look down at it, they come from Jamaican families. You try to figure out why can Bounty Killer thrive so well when he go to New York? There's Jamaicans.
All right.
There's only Jamaicans there.
Exactly.
First, second, third, fourth, fifth generation Jamaicans.
Yep.
Who haven't left their culture, who haven't left these particular things, and they thrive off of hip hop.
And have enriched American culture.
Biggie Smalls' mommy is a whole Jamaican.
Heavy D.
These people come from Jamaica. Where Heavy D from? Portmore. Where he from?
Yeah, he from somewhere in Jamaica. I think he was born there, became it, but he certainly has Jamaican.
When you hear things like Mandeli, I know American thing.
Yeah, well, let's bring it close to home. When we look at the top gospel songs in America, particularly those that deal with African Americans, you have James Weldon Johnson and John Rosamond Johnson, Bahamians. But who was their grandfather? Stephen Dillard. Where Stephen Dillard come from? Haiti. So here you have this hodgepodge of Haitian, Bahamian greatness mixed in together.
I don't know where we get this foolishness from to hate, man.
I know, that then went to the United States and composed the song that is still sung in every Pan-African hall to this day, known as the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. You know what else they composed? Them bones, them dry bones. These Bahamians in America
So Beyonce's
doing these
Bahamian.
things. Yes, Beyonce Knowles. Man, I could go on and on. You get a woman from Crooked Island named Etta Cameron, who was the top best-selling gospel singer in the history of Scandinavia. You see how random that is?
That's crazy.
You know, so if they
How's she getting Scandinavia?
singing in
Let's say get over
Danish,
here.
singing in Danish, gospel in Danish, woman from Crooked Island. She was, for those who wonder, she was originally a Coakley, and she changed her name to Etta Cameron. You know, so many people, man. You know, so particularly among the African diaspora, given our history and everything, cultural exchange for us is even more important. Right? And in diversity is something that should be celebrated. And what I also find funny, we love to compare ourselves to other countries, particularly a Singapore, a Finland. I'm sure you've heard these comparisons.
Of course.
Yeah, Singapore.
That was one of the staples for the DNA when they
Yeah.
came to the forefront saying that we can do these things. Look
Right.
at Singapore.
Right, Qatar, right? So first of all, those nations don't have the same history and trauma. Their populations simply don't. Yes, they are colonization, but they are not descended from chattel slaves and all of these things. You understand what I'm saying? Number two, when you look at even a nation like Qatar, which is, I think, per capita, per citizen, Qatar is the wealthiest nation in the world. Do you know what percentage of Qatar population are actually Qatari?
No.
About 20%.
So this could be
So
almost
the
like a
richest
like
nation,
a Turks and Caicos.
where everyone, when you take individual,
You see what they did there?
Bermuda, huh? We could go on and on.
You see what they did
Finland.
there?
Now let's talk about the big one, the United States of America.
Yeah.
Irish American,
The success-
Italian American,
It's Latin Americans, Italian
Come on, man.
Americans,
Caribbean
Mexican
people,
Americans,
Bahamians,
Caribbean,
Jamaicans, come on.
Africans.
You know,
Huh?
so like I said earlier, this notion, this replacement theory thing that we have sadly
Never understood
adopted.
America
Yeah.
for this kind of a disdain that they have for people, and knowing that the great that they seek,
You're right.
the great again that they kind of be able to, that they wish to pursue, they could never be able to acclaim and really be able to capture those things without the assistance of the foreigners.
Certainly.
They just can't.
Yeah.
The bridges that they built, all these things, these are foreign labor. Locals wasn't doing these things. The cars that they built, they do foreign labors. Right now, if Mexicans go home, you can't get no orange.
No.
You go to Miami, you can't get an orange. You can't get an orange. Where you can get the strawberries from? Where you getting flowers from? These Mexicans doing this right now.
Exactly. You know, and
You go to California right now, nobody house clean. The Mexicans go out. What happened? What happened? No, we ain't cleaning. We ain't cutting no grass. We ain't cleaning. Foreign labor exists.
And the irony is, Mexicans, who are they? Who are Mexicans ethnically? They are indigenous Americans. So if we want you to you get these foreigners telling indigenous people, get out my country.
Not just Mexicans now.
You know? Oh yeah, Guatemalans,
The
Hondurans,
Indians.
of course.
The Somalians, all these particular things, all these things
Oh,
go
yeah.
down. But you know what? Because, you know, if we're going to be honest, what is an authentic American?
Right.
It can be.
Irish. It
It can't be.
can't be a European, that's for damn sure.
It can't
Particularly
be.
when you consider the numerous genocides that were committed. And
Okay.
it's the same thing here. Our indigenous population has went extinct, and yet we have the gall.
Extinct.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
eradicated.
But we have the gall to coin
All
terms
of us
like
supposed to look like Indians.
organic Bahamian and all. Come on, man.
All of us supposed to look like Indians.
Yeah,
Gone.
right.
Chicken pox and this and that and everything. Wipe
Slavery,
out.
everything. Right. You know?
Wipe out.
In one
And
generation.
they ship us in here. Okay, praise God. At least we get something. You head up with something, man. They ship so much as you wasn't stopping having children. So now you end up 10 to 1. They say, oh God, it's too much here. What we can do?
And then when you look
This
at
is what it
nations
is.
like Argentina, they had a concerted effort to whiten up their country, killing blacks, exporting blacks, and encouraging migration of only Europeans. You know, and so this is why, for me, you know, we have to get serious and even being. Now I know this is a term that plenty of people like, but we have to be politically correct when we talking about ourselves too. This is why I don't use the term an illegal migrant. It's undocumented migrant. You understand what I'm saying? And we're so funny.
You and Luby don't like to use that.
Yeah, no, because people can't be illegal, particularly in the context of what we're talking about now. You see that
Unless they follow the sky. And they ain't come through no womb.
Well, that's a different
If you
thing.
come through a womb, you can't be illegal.
Thank you.
But if you follow the sky, hey, listen.
You understand?
Like, for instance,
Yeah.
who is Bradley? You remember Bradley, but 10 foot tall.
Yeah.
You see Bradley?
Yeah.
I feel like he illegal.
Right.
Bradley, you should be here. Why are you this big? We never see you before.
You know, so yeah, and it's about having sensitivity because let's flip it around again. I did a course on heritage tourism by Dia Seymour, professor at University years ago. And what she actually did was we actually went through, and I could see in her delivery was trying to curb some of this xenophobia. And she literally is like, well, how many Haitians do y'all think are living here, whether legally or illegally, right? And I know the recent statistics came out and said that anywhere between 50,000 and 100,000, right? Which doesn't help much, but at least we know.
That ain't what Ronnie said. Ronnie
Right.
Jean.
Right, you see what I said?
Ronnie Jean is no longer with us, though.
Yeah.
I think he passed away, yeah.
So I heard, may he rest in peace too,
Yeah.
you know? But I think you get where I coming from.
I hear what you're saying,
with that
but I
point,
don't
you know?
believe that I don't believe that through education. Okay, so I often say this. I often
But
say,
sorry, the
Go ahead, go
statistic that
finish
she
that.
pulled up was that there were over somewhere between, when you're talking about first, second, third generation, somewhere between 80 and 90,000 Bahamians living in the United States. So proportionately, who is the ones who is be going to other countries to, you understand what I'm saying? Because if Haiti get
80 to 90,000?
Yes, 80 to 90,000
You better
Bahamian
come back
diaspora.
home.
You know,
Messing
understand?
around in America.
Thank you very much.
Because
And
ICE don't play.
yeah, so if you
Jesus.
overstay now and all these things, and then now they branding you are an illegal person, an illegal migrant
From an
You
asshole country.
understand?
You know, they can cuss you.
Thank you. Oh yeah, man, I was watching the Nicaragua Bahamas game yesterday. Shout out to our ladies, I should say, not girls. There was a senior women's team who won and beat Nicaragua by about 13 points last night or thereabouts. And I was in these comments and I was seeing all type of strange comments. And I said, you know what? Let me go on my Google Translate. Fellas calling the Bahamas stupid. One of these people can say, now this fella from Nicaragua and the other one's from Guatemala. You know what he called the Bahamas? A banana republic.
And from Nicaragua? From Nicaragua?
That's the same thing I say.
But it's conditioning.
bro,
This
I say,
computer,
bro,
these phones,
I telling you.
got people, this
Thank you.
smartphones,
Right.
but
Got
you're so dumb.
Right.
When you do
You
this,
see?
it gotta be dumb.
I didn't even run on. All I did was I snitched on him to the YouTube authorities. I reported him for being racist. But then I also was like, I promise you, you would love to live in the Bahamas. There ain't no question about that.
I can tell you one thing.
I've been to El
All they can have
Salvador.
all cervezas in the world right here. You
Thank you.
relaxing
I've
here
been to
under
El
one tree.
Salvador, I've been to
This
Panama.
what you love.
Right.
This country is what you love.
Thank you.
All I got is Mexican friends and
Right.
Cuban friends and Venezuela and Dominica and all these. Every one of them out here, you think there's Bahamian, they ain't working on a holiday.
Right.
They on the beach.
Thank you.
They doing the same thing we doing. They out here playing in the sand, soccer.
Yeah.
The Bahamas is where you want to be.
Yep.
Because you're free, you're liberal, and ain't nobody bothering with you.
And overall, despite us discussing xenophobia and stuff, we treat guests kindly.
Absolutely.
Overall, you know, we are tourism, you know, so I don't want people to think, and I understand that sentiment too. People sometimes express legitimate concerns and are blanketed with all other xenophobes. But it also goes the other way, where those who try to curb the xenophobia should not be seen as these overly liberal, let's just open the borders and let everybody in type of people as
But
well.
yeah, that's what I
You
was saying to you.
understand?
You said
Right.
the teacher was trying to quietly be able to curb xenophobia through
Right.
education.
Yeah.
I believe xenophobia is a sentiment, is a feeling, is an emotion.
Yes, it is.
Right? I don't
Certainly.
believe that you can be able to logically dispel it.
Right.
You have to decide, just like faith.
Yep.
You have to decide to accept it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like okay, so I use this example a lot. If me and my wife have a disagreement, and I try to be able to explain to her through logic what I think, I say, baby, listen, baby, A, B, C, D, and she said, well, A, B, C, D, right? And I said, no, listen, just listen, A, B, C, D. And she said, but A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. I said, hold on, baby, wait. I can't. No, she say A, B, C, D, E. And then I say, hold on, baby, listen, we only talking about A, B, C. This is the logic now.
Yeah.
And then she said, well, I feel like 1, 2, 3. I can't round no more. I finished rounding because I can't wrap my head around how you could feel like something that ain't have nothing to do with none of these things. That's xenophobia.
Right.
How you could feel like hate when you ain't read nothing, you ain't make no sense for nothing, you ain't realize that you is the first third generation in your family, you ain't know that your great auntie from someplace else, you ain't never do no research to figure out where your last name from, you ain't do nothing. I asked the young lady, and I said, right, because she read and she looked like me, right? This was years and years ago. So I said, oh, how you doing? What's your name? And she tell me, she like reluctantly tell me her first name as though I was trying to cut up with her. So I said, no, I'm not concerned about your first name. I want to know your last name. She said, I'm a wild goose. I said, oh, so she was my family.
Yeah, okay.
So I said, oh, you was a wild goose. She was my cousin. She said, I'm not your cousin. I said, yes, the wild goose from 8 Mile Rock. She says, no, I'm from Dolphin Road or something like that in Freeport. So I said, baby, Freeport is not a real place. We created that.
Right.
So Freeport is not.
Just come around and
I said the settlements,
1964.
the settlements is in West Grand Bahama and East Grand Bahama.
Right.
I said the wild goose are settled in West Grand Bahama. They are my cousins. Wild goose, Jones. She said, well, I don't know nothing but that. I don't know no wild goose. And then I have to say things like, oh, you're naive because no one has told you. You don't understand that kind of connection that exists in these particular spaces. This is what we need to do. You out here xenophobic and hatred for 8 Mile Rock people, let's say hypothetically.
Yeah.
You don't like 8 Mile Rock people, y'all is ghetto. Maybe you from 8 Mile Rock.
Right.
You don't even know you from 8 Mile Rock.
Exactly.
You out here and your last name is a Haitian last name, and you don't even know where you don't even know where you come from. You hate you.
Listen, I used to be so
You hate you.
tempted.
No,
to-
that's
to
not
call
that's not how
people
my
out on
that's
that.
not how my DeVoe is spelled. That's not how my Delaveau is spelled. That's not how my
Yeah,
France.
right. Yeah.
Sir, you are a whole Haitian and you don't know. You don't know who you
I'm
is.
telling you, bro, you know.
No, that's not. Do your own research and find out where you come from.
And then realize that there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
Do your own
again,
research.
You understand?
You
It's
hate
nothing-
people and don't know you hate you.
Right. You know,
I just hate me. I can't believe that this
even
part of me.
My mother from Trinidad, right? But you know, my mother light skinned and good looking, so she is scared to pass, you know? My mother from Trinidad, no one ever called me a Trinidadian in my life. My brother Lou B. George, sorry to put you on the spot, my brother Lou B. George, born and bred in Gadad, Bahamian, but because of that George at the end there, huh? No man, he was Haitian. Francis, you know that there are some quote-unquote Haitian names like Baptiste that has been here longer than names like Grant.
I can believe that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Because Granny and Bahamian name, they
Right.
come from
Turks.
not just Turks. They import that from Scotland and all kind of places
Right.
like that. My granddaddy is a Smith, but he's light skinned
have-
Smith. Something wrong with that. I said, hold on, wait, hold on. But come from this white people's Smith. You need to stop, right?
yeah.
Listen, you're not authentic.
Right.
People call themselves organic Bahamian.
That's the Lucayans.
You're not an organic Bahamian. We all were shipped in here, including the Lutheran adventurers
Yes.
who was eating conch. We was all shipped here. They killed all of the local people who was here. The Lucayan Indians, the Taino Indians, the Caribs, all these things like this. These things happen. This is what we learned when we was in school.
Right.
And then they start teaching us about Christopher Columbus, so forth and so on. We didn't get to our local history yet. But we are all shipped here. The xenophobia needs to stop.
Yes.
We're in a different age and new time and a new era now. And it's important that we understand those things. My brother, that's 2:00.
Yeah.
It is an absolutely wonderful thing to have a conversation with you. I always enjoy
Thank
it.
you, my brother. Thank you.
I always enjoy it, you know. I
thanks
tell you
for
that.
having me on, man. You brought
Why don't
me
you
some-
come do a show with me once, I don't know, once or twice a month?
Certainly,
You
man.
could pre-record the show and just talk about some history. You put a nice little background to it and talk about some history and stuff like that.
100%.
I keep telling you to do that with me.
Yeah, man. No, man.
So
we
let
can
people
get
know,
there.
like if you
We can
doing
get
like you got your book, Black Rinse,
Yeah.
right? You could be able to read excerpts from your book and then be able to talk about those things. You want to be able to talk about that. And while you're doing that, see your book right here. Make sure you pick up the book. I think it's on Amazon.
No, not yet. Amazon is trying to sell
Where you
my
get your
book
book from?
for $6 a copy. Right now it's out of print. We have some more coming in September. But they might have some left at Pompey Museum, but they are sold at all AMMC sites. Also Clifton Heritage National Park, Black Rinse, a new perspective on the history of the African diaspora in the Bahamas. There's a lot in here about Ghana, a lot in here about Haiti, a lot of the stuff that we were actually speaking about just now. There's a lot of that in there, you know. But final word, I would just like to say, you know, I encourage all educators to keep their head up. The nation, whether it's from the top of the pyramid to the bottom, overall supports teachers. I don't think anybody is denying that teachers need a pay raise, eh?
No, give the teachers a
one
pay
denies-
raise.
I don't think anybody is saying that, you know, understand? But I think we just need to let cooler heads prevail at times. And let's look and, you know, and let's just try to be encouraged.
Yeah.
And, you know, we must also, I've been hearing a lot of talk about the teachers and their conditions, very little talk about the children. And I've seen some things that sort of disturb me when it's be like, these parents raising these bad children and we got to deal with the, you know, we just need to start. All of us play a role in this. When a child fall by the wayside, all us guilty, including you, Howard, and including me, even if we never even cross paths with them. Why? Because they are products of our society. You see? And the same way, when a child do good, Not just when a child do bad. So listen, I used to take credit for Shawnee and them too. You know, you think this a game. When I go away, I used to say, man, I grew up in Staple and Shawnee Mill and come from there too. You know what I mean? So I might have thrown rock one day and, you know, I know what a butterfly effect, but I claiming it. You understand? But it's all about our unification and having a unified front on issues that should not be made partisan. And that should not be as adversarial as I see that they sometimes get.
I agree with you. My brother, it's been wonderful talking with you, ladies and gentlemen. None other than Nana John Canoe, Chief. Would you call yourself Chief?
Yeah, chief. Nana means chief, king, queen, all of those things. So when I round Ghanaians, y'all say me call me Nana. Yeah, and people is wonder why.
So what is
Grammy?
What is
you know?
Turks Islands is called the oldest boy, Baba.
Baba. Yeah.
What's Baba?
All of that has African.
My daddy's called me Baba.
Yeah. All of those have African roots, and all of those things are still being studied. But a lot of those nicknames like Baba and Kali and these things come out of the Mande people. This is the same language where we get words.
You say
like
Baba or Baba? Baba.
Yeah, Baba is
Baba.
for a senior man. So Baba will be like the oldest patriarch.
Hey, listen to me. We ain't move far from these things, you know.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
As the oldest of my daddy children, he's called me Baba.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so my grandfather, they would call him in Turks Island, John Baba.
Listen, we can go into the family
Baba.
Stuff on another
Turks
show.
Island got more the heritage things that they use in their sort of colloquialism in their language that they're still connected to, which is a crazy thing.
Well, you know, they say the people from Caicos say rake and scrape come from there. And there's evidence to support that. And the people from Kid Island say, no, it originated here. All of it originated in Africa.
But the truth of the matter is that all is the same thing, because if you look to Provo, they got that same obeah that... okay, praise God. Anyway, that's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to tune in with us. Make sure you stay connected with what we're doing right here on Foundation Radio, 89.5 FM. We're going to see you guys tomorrow right here on The Foundation. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
The best talk show in the Bahamas. The Foundation with Howard Grant. Only on 89.5 FM Foundation Radio.
You are in tuned to Foundation Radio 89.5 FM. Great talk, great music, and a great staff. Reach your customers in style by advertising with us. We have a great platform and